Hello there, fan friends, and welcome to this week's build, where we are going to, we might get a little tacky. If you'll recall, the last time we left off, we had just finished building our brand new wheel wells. Beautiful, aluminum, nice and solid. We are going to put those aside just for a little while, because what we're going to do today is we are going to add the wood panel to our interior surfaces. And to add that wood, we're going to have to glue them in place, maybe do a few tacks in place. Then we're going to use the router to shape the top of our wood so it forms the same shape as our glue laminated frame. And well, after we get that done, we'll see how much time we have left, because what we are going to do after that is we're going to attach our wheel wells in place, bolted down, and our walls will be attached to those. And yeah, this partition wall, which has been a big troublesome part for us, well, I know we won't get to that today, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our first panels put on our interior walls. So what we need to do first is we have to remove our frame from the trailer. It's kind of a form and a fit as you go type project. All right, let's take this over and lay it on the floor. Let's lay it on our nice flat floor here and get ready for the plywood. We know that just one piece of plywood isn't going to be enough to cover this frame. Our frame is actually about 9.5 feet long and about 5.5 feet tall. With our 4x8 sheet, we're going to go from the front of our trailer and we're going to come to this beam right here on this particular wall, because we want to have our plywood butted ends land right here on this column here. And it's okay because a cabinet is going to be covering that joint, and so you'll never see that joint. And this way we're also going to take the top of our plywood here and we're going to have it up at the top of our gluelam frame here and come down. And then that way the joint on the bottom will be hidden behind our cabinets and our wheel well, leaving no joints within our walls. And that's kind of what we're going for, a nice clean look. On our door panel here, we're going to do that one just a little bit differently. On this particular one here, we're going to lay it out with the distance on the center of here to there. So I'll go ahead and cut that piece and fit it in place. Actually, after thinking about it, I am not going to cut this piece off yet. We are going to go ahead, glue it, tack it, and adhere it to our frame, and then we'll use a router to trim off the excess wood. That's the smarter way to do it. So we laid our piece of plywood over our frame and we marked on each of these pieces of wood where this piece of plywood comes down to. Now, to make it easier, for after I put the glue on, I'm going to put these little tacks, just a couple of tacks on each thing, so after I put the glue on, I can just butt the plywood against these little tacks and then lay the plywood down. These are just temporary. Now, we're going to take our construction glue here. I think it's a good product. We're going to go ahead, we're going to lift our panel up, and we're going to put glue on our frame, and we're going to set our plywood down into this construction adhesive. Remember, I put those two little nails up at the head, that way our plywood won't slide, because this is where we want it. just going to lay our plywood into that construction adhesive. So we put just a few staples in different parts of our outside of our frame, just to hold the wood to the glue laminated frame so that the glue will dry nice and flat. Our piece of plywood has dried onto the frame with our construction adhesive that we used. Now we're just using our router with the trim bit, and we're going to go around and trim off our excess plywood. As you can see right here, I've already done one piece and it came out really nice and easy. All right, with our first panel already attached to our frame and almost all cut out, we just need to finish routing out our window right here. We'll do that after we do this other wall. I know we're kind of jumping back and forth a little bit, but it'll all make sense as we wrap up this video. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take off this wall here from the trailer. We'll take off our aluminum panel first, then the frame, lay it on the ground, and do the same thing, apply plywood to it, just like we did that frame. So let's get to it. We put this aluminum side on here, as you recalled, so we could figure out where our wheel wells were going to be and just how good our frame was, or how close it was to the original size. And so now we're just going to take it off and store it on the side of the wall here. Back down to a flat trailer again. I think we're going backwards. We'll get this back in a couple of days here. Okay, so we removed our wall from the trailer. It's here on the ground. This one's going to be a little bit different. Instead of going across the whole way, we're just going to go right to the edge of the door. We're just adding this construction adhesive on all of our rails and columns. So we just put a nice bead of this construction adhesive on all the frame members. It says we have about 20 minutes to work with it. As hot as it is here, I don't think we have that much time. So we're going to set this down in place. We're going to put a few tacks in, know where that'll show when it's finished. Since we can't install our upper cabinet, we're going to use it as weight. Temporarily. We'll give this just a few minutes to set up. Then we'll run the router along the edge of it. Just like that, we have another beautiful edge. And we're gonna run a few tacks just right along the edge here. Remember I told you about being tacky? Well, this is it. Now you can see we have the plywood on that side of the doorway, which is going to be here. That's all secured. Now we need to tack on this front part here in front of the doorway. they are, panels all attached to each of our interior sides of our trailer wall. As you can see on the inside here, this is where our window will be. This part down here in the bottom, that is where you put stuff in from the side, so it's a little storage cabinet from the outside. And this little box down here, this will be our battery box. Over on this one, this will be the door. After a while, we'll cut these rims, we'll cut these pieces of wood out. But until we get it secured to the trailer and everything in place, we'll just leave it there to keep everything nice and straight. There aren't any other cutouts on this particular panel, so it's good to go. Well, that does it for this week's video of our wall panels. Next time, we'll finish up those wheel wells.